So this is an Asmongold video from from September. I don't even know how long ago that was, but it's kind of old now. Still under a year, but it's called "I Had No Idea Kids Are This Stupid," and it's about school. And I figure, as a sixth grade teacher, and I've been teaching for like 10 years now, I definitely have some insight into this topic for sure.
I had no idea kids are this stupid.
I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level.
It would benefit you to watch his entire video because he...
So, as somebody who used to be in 7th grade, I can confirm that most people in my 7th grade class couldn't do multiplication. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say most people that, I mean, we all went to school, but I feel like most of us knew people that just were not on grade level ever. But I watched a little bit of this back in September or October, but I'm pretty sure this video is talking about like how COVID affected everything and how it's a lot worse now than it used to be.
Breaks it down about how and that's the kids that are doing well, because I also teach 7th grade and we have kids that have math grade level equivalents of 1st and 2nd grade.
1st and 2nd grade, and they're 12 or 13 years old.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
3rd grade, man.
I teach 6th grade, so that's like right around my level. I mean, essentially, yeah, 11 is when kids start 6th grade, and then they turn 12 sometime throughout the year. I have kids right now that are on level at 6th grade. I have kids at 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, kindergarten level. I have so many refugees in my classroom right now. I teach 3 different classes, but I have so many refugees that don't speak a lick of English, and I don't know what they're doing in my classroom. But yeah, there's a lot of kids that aren't refugees even that cannot read or write anywhere near 6th grade level, which is crazy sad.
Any at 4th grade, very few at grade level, very few, if any, in some classes. These kids can't read, they can't decode, they have no vocabulary, no background knowledge. I've never seen anything like it. For context,
the decoding part is huge. Every once in a while when we read in my classroom, like if we're reading a new article or a short story or whatever it is, I'll ask the kids to read some things. And I remember growing up, and if there was a word we didn't know, the teacher would have us sound it out and do our best to sound it out. And even if it was wrong, that was part of the learning process, was like, sound this shit out, look at how it's spelled. You know how you've learned phonics and all this shit, so you should know, how to read the word opportunity or meandering or whatever. But a lot of these kids won't even try. They'll just skip over it. I have this one student that will just look at a word that they don't know and go, that word, and then they'll keep reading. They'll literally just look at the word and let's say they're reading. Okay, I'm gonna read this description right here. It says, encourage your viewers to send gifts and thank them for their support. Let's say they don't know the word viewers, right? They'll go, encourage that word to send gifts and thank them for their support. And they'll just skip over it and just keep fucking going. It's wild. And there were kids back when I was going to school that were like that too, but it's way worse now.
For 8 years, I taught a self-contained program for significant language-based learning disabilities. It was the most restrictive environment. It was the step before being sent to a specialized school. And
they had this in my school too. Like, all the kids that could speak English, they just put them in special ed.
I shouldn't laugh at that.
They did. They put him in special ed.
That was back in the day.
Because I would go in there to fix the computers. I was in the computer repair program. And I would go in there and there'd be kids that had legitimate disabilities. And then there'd be other kids that just spoke Spanish.
5th graders with significant language-based learning disabilities could write better than non-disabled 7th graders can now.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
And my 5th graders with significant language-based learning disabilities could write better than non-disabled 7th graders can now.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but it's true. I mean, it is funny.
Oh my god.
It's funny
Bro,
because it's so
how
ridiculous.
is that even possible? How do you be so fucking stupid?
A lot of things. But, and I'm just gonna keep it. I'm not gonna keep it. I'll just say, if kids are stupid now, it's because of a bunch of things. But firstly, No Child Left Behind. No Child Left Behind fucked kids and schools so hard that we'll probably never recover from it. And if you don't know what No Child Left Behind is, basically, I'm pretty sure it was either Clinton or Bush, the president, because I'm sure some of you watching don't know who the people are, but one of those presidents enacted a program called No Child Left Behind, in which basically you could not fail a student and keep them behind a year without like a significant amount of evidence. Like you just move kids on. And when COVID came around, and it was pretty bad, like back in like the early 2000s and like 2010s, but once COVID came around, dude, the amount of kids that they just pushed on. I had a girl that didn't do a lick of work all year. And when I say she didn't do a lick of work, I mean she literally didn't do a lick of work. And she missed over 30 days of school. She moved right on to 7th grade at the end of the year. And then in 7th grade, the exact same thing happened. And she just ended up moving districts. And I'm sure she's doing shitty over there too. We just push kids on. So, you know, if a kid's not learning anything in 2nd grade, they don't get held back like they used to. And by the way, I don't think holding back kids helps either. I don't think school should be based on grades. That's just me. But that's also a topic for a different video. But when you just move kids on like that, goddamn, they don't learn shit. And then they go to the next grade level. So like I teach basic reading and writing for like a 6th grade level. So like essay writing. We do like argumentative writing, objective summaries, how to decode, like how to, what's the word? How to figure out a theme from a story and then like provide evidence for why you believe the theme of the story is XYZ, whatever. And we just teach like very basic claim evidence reasoning. And some of these kids, I lost what I'm saying, but some of these kids will not learn how to do that, right? All year long, they'll just do the bare minimum, write a bunch of garbage or shit from the top of their head without following a template at all. And then we'll move on to 7th grade. And now it's the same thing that I taught, but more advanced. And so they don't have any idea what's going on. It's insane.
It shouldn't be, but it's fun. I think it's funny. Like, the future is doomed. Well, you have to understand. So here, let me put this into context. Y'all gonna understand where we at. So in the United States, the main career that people want to have is they want to be a YouTube influencer or a TikTok influencer.
I don't know if that's true, but a lot of
In
kids here.
China, the main career that people want to have is an astronaut. They want to be a doctor.
I think a lot of kids in China want to be influencers too. Just saying.
So this is 100% a cultural problem. It is 100%.
They can't write a sentence. They don't know what state they live in.
7th grade. I don't know what state they're in.
During my breaks, I play a game called Categories. And so if you don't know what Categories is, all the kids get into a circle. And I give them a category, and they have 3 seconds to tell me something related to the category. So like, let's say the category is chips. The first kid will say Doritos, the second one will say Hot Cheetos, the third one will say, barbecue Lay's, and it just keeps going on. And if you repeat something that's already been said, then you're out, right? And with chips and candy and musicians and things like that, the kids are pretty good. They'll get around the circle. But when we do states, countries, continents even, there's 7 fucking continents. And they have no idea. I remember we were doing states, and we're going through it: Washington, Illinois, Indiana, whatever. And we get to like the 4th kid, and he goes, Canada. I couldn't even like respond to that in a way that was professional. I'm pretty sure I asked, like, what the fuck did you just, I mean, I didn't say fuck, but like, what did you just say? Like, how do you not know Canada's a goddamn country? And then that kid's out, so he has to sit down, and we keep going on. And then another kid says, Mexico. Bitch. Mexico. And then we do countries, and fucking a kid goes, Asia. Fuck.
Oh my God. Bro, no, I don't believe that. See, I went to a school with stupid kids. Okay?
Everyone goes to school with stupid kids. And that's not me being a dick. Every school has kids that are going to be considered stupid. That's just how it is.
Wait, you can ask Cody, anybody else that I went to high school with, they will tell you the same thing. Like, bro, we had people that were in 11th grade. Actually, I had somebody in my geometry class who was 19. 19. Dumb, bro. How old are you in 7th grade? You are 12 or 13. I'm a teacher in middle school in Texas. It's true. Oh yeah, there it is.
Texas is worse though than a lot of states. The education in Texas. Go to the education like teaching Reddit. Texas is falling apart.
They don't know what region
But I do kind of want to move to Austin.
of the country they're in.
Oh my God. Oh my God, I don't know what they're. Yeah.
They have no background knowledge. Most of them don't know who the president is.
I don't know who the fuck Joe Biden. Who the fuck is that? What, that old guy?
Most know president. I've never come across a student that didn't know who the current president was. That one might be based on I don't know, maybe she's teaching in a city or some shit.
What's he in charge of? Like, going to sleep? Who gives a fuck? I thought Donald Trump was the president. The red hat guy.
They're coming to school with no background knowledge.
Yeah.
They have very low skills. And yes, part of my job is to help them find those skills.
Nah, bro. Like, they should have had that.
Part of my job is to help kids find those skills, but when you're so far below 6th grade level, or the level that the teacher is teaching, it's really impossible to catch those kids up. And then people will talk about like the gaps in learning and ability, and kind of pin that on the teacher. But like, dude, if your kid has been stuck at a 1st grade reading and writing level for the past 5 years, there is nothing I can do to catch them up in 1 year. Nothing. They need to be pulled out, and they need to be helped exclusively by one teacher, like for the rest of the, I don't know, maybe like 2-3 years to get them caught up. Plus, it's generally is, I feel like it's probably a lot to do with the way they're raised at home, and that's probably gonna catch me some flack. But like a lot of these parents, dude, just give their kids a fucking iPad, or they just let their kids play fucking video games all night. If you don't have your kids read at least 20 minutes a day, they're gonna fall behind.
That going into it. In 7th grade, bro, these kids got to go back to 4th grade. They got to go back to 4th grade graduation, get a refund.
There is no
Like,
graduation.
the culture and the parents, it's the culture, it's the education system, it's the parents.
Yeah, it's everything.
Here's the truth, right? Is you have a lot of teachers, and the teachers get paid dog shit. They don't get paid any fucking money. So guess what? You pay people the minimum, you get the minimum.
I agree with that to a point, but it's also, I'm not trained. I mean, I have a, so let me, my degree is in elementary education, and I have minors in English and sorry, not minors, endorsements in English, science, and social studies. So I can teach middle school science, English, and social studies. But my main focus has been English language arts. So I know how to teach kids, you know, to articulate their thoughts and then provide evidence for what they've drawn from a piece of text. I know how to get them to read a text at a 6th grade level and look for little context clues and things to help them understand the passage or like figure out a theme or an argument for a question. What I can't do, because I haven't practiced this in over 10 in over yeah, since like college, I don't teach kids to read or decode. I don't practice fluency with these kids. When they get to 6th grade, based on the standards from the state, the kids are expected to know how to read and write at a 6th grade level. So it's not like I can go back and teach kids how to do this. And it's not like you can learn that in a month or two. Plus, I mean, within a month or two, my unit's already over and I'm moving on to the next thing. So it's not just the fact that we get paid little. For some teachers, it is. I'm not going to sit here and defend all teachers. Some teachers do the bare minimum because they don't get paid a lot. They get paid dog shit, so they don't really care. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that kids are coming in without the skills necessary. It's like, okay, it's like if you've ever played Skyrim, right? There are certain areas on the map of Skyrim where if you run in with your level 10 character and you are not leveled up appropriately and have the good, like all the best gear, you're going to die. Because the enemies, the monsters are so goddamn strong. They're going to one-shot you, maybe 2-3-shot you, and then you're done. So these kids are coming in with low levels, no good gear, and then my curriculum is the monster, right? That's like at level 30 plus, but they're at level 10. So then they just fucking wipe. That's what it is.
Get people that are barely putting in effort. Like I have a friend who's a teacher in Texas here, and she told me that, bro, she has to have an app to talk to the teachers, or sorry, to talk to the parents. And she has to be able to respond on this fucking app within a matter of like hours. Like maybe it's like 30 hours, but it's no more than 72.
We don't have that at my school.
And so she's got to be doing this on her off time. She's got to be doing all this. She's got to be spending extra money for like supplies. It is bad, man.
I'm so glad we don't have that at my school. I do not have to chat with parents out on like an app or anything. But they do email me at all hours of the fucking day and night. And some of the parents do get upset if I don't respond in like 30 minutes. You know, I'll get an email at like 8:30 p.m. and then at 9:30, they're emailing me again, being like, "Excuse me, I need a response." Like, motherfucker, I'm rewatching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood for the 50th fucking time. It's my time. It's my time, not your time.
Being a teacher sucks dick, and you're not getting paid any fucking money. Too much freedom, no discipline. I think a lack of discipline is definitely a problem, but there are teachers, like we had a teacher, right? And like, so I had friends of mine, we used to, we were in geometry class, and one thing that we would do is we would take a little, like for some reason, like the fucking student teacher thought it was a good idea to fucking to give us clay. And so obviously a number of people in the class just threw clay at him every time he turned around. Naturally.
That must be
And so
an inner city school.
Eventually they did that. And this kid would do it. His name was Billy. And
I've
he
never had kids throw shit at me, except maybe like one kid.
would try to throw clay in the teacher's pocket every time he turned around. And he would also call the teacher. He would say, Mr. I forgot even what his name was, right? Is an F word, right? The homophobic F word.
Ah.
He would say this, and it was like, he would say it in like one syllable. So by
I did have a kid once. I had a student, and I don't know who the student is. I have a good idea of who I think it is, but I don't know for sure. I woke up one morning on a weekend, and I got a Facebook. I got like 3 Facebook notifications. And one of them was a message, and the other 2 were like profiles that were trying to be my friend. And a student, and I know it's a student because who the fuck else would do this? Well, I know it's a student because also they use my teaching name, right? Mr. and my last name. And it was the name of the Facebook profile was my name, Mr. Blank, is gay. And the other one was Mr. Blank is a word that rhymes with maggot, but it was spelled like F, the at symbol, GG0T, so that they didn't get banned. I mean, they both got I think banned eventually. I didn't report them. I think they were trying to friend all the kids at school. But I don't know why I thought of that story. It just that happened a couple years ago, and I think they were trying to make me feel bad, but that shit made me laugh so hard. I thought that was so fucking funny. Because I know at least for that year, I was living rent free in that little motherfucker's head. Holy shit. To spend the time to make a Facebook profile of me like that, man, I must have been living in your head.
By the time he turned around, he couldn't see it. He's like, Billy, did you say something? Billy's like, no, I didn't say nothing. So finally, this teacher finally had enough of Billy, and he called Billy up to the front of the class.
Well, I have no idea what he's talking about.
And I told this story, I didn't say nothing. So finally, by the time he turned around,
it's the clay
he
thing.
couldn't see it. He's like, Billy, did you say something? Billy's like, no, I didn't say nothing.
Oh, no,
so
no,
finally,
sorry.
This teacher finally...
I literally had to tell the story of what this kid made for me, and I forgot what this was about, and this was the thing that sparked that.
Had enough of Billy, and he called Billy up to the front of the class, and I've told this story before. He drew a triangle, and he did this. And he says, solve it, Billy.
Billy couldn't solve it?
And this is something that we learned on the first day of class, right? We learned this on literally the first day of class. Like Pythagorean theorem, it's geometry. It's like literally the simplest thing. It's not 7. But so he spends 5 minutes. Everybody's quiet for the first half, where he's writing out 3, 4, bro. He's like Einstein, right? He's introducing parentheses. He's 15, 13 plus 5b, and he's trying to figure it out. And halfway through, all the kids start laughing at him, right? Everybody starts laughing at him. Teachers laughing at him. And then finally the student teacher, he's like, you done? And he's like, oh no, mister. And the teacher goes to him, he says this, who's the F word now?
Oh shit.
And he says, you need to start coming in the...
Dude, the way I would get fired so fast if I said that shit.
Class early. And
who's the F word now? Even if I said F word, obviously if I didn't say... Even just saying who's the F word, F word itself, I think that would be a talk with the principal and a write-up bare minimum. That's funny as fuck.
You need to start paying attention, or you're never going to graduate.
I can get 3 write-ups before I'm fired. I think I would give up one of my write-ups to come back at a student like that if they said some shit like that to my face.
Wait.
I need to be more professional, but it is what it is.
And this kid sat down. He never caused another problem for the rest of the year. And the funniest fucking thing that happened is that I had multiple classes with him. And the class before him was a history class that was taught by the football coach out in a portable away from the rest of class that all of the students that had problems were in. And so football coach in his 50s in Texas, who's teaching history. So that means that this is a class about World War II, because his dad was in World War II. And so that's all we would learn. And there was never a time that Billy ever acted out in that class. Nobody ever acted out in that class. All of the problem boys said yes, sir, and no, sir, and there was never an issue ever. So you're apt, and nobody was getting hit. Nobody was getting especially with this other guy, right? Nobody was getting anything, right? People were just immediately just listening and doing what they're supposed to do. That's it. How's Billy doing today? I saw him. He was waiting at a rave in San Marcos whenever I was down there, maybe 5 or so years ago. He seemed okay. Yeah, he's chilling as far as I know. Yeah. And some teachers command respect. Yeah, and then the problem, right, is that people in your chat are actually saying the answer is 7. Sure, that's fine. I didn't know Billy was here. So anyway,
man,
the point is that
I feel like I should just watch the original TikTok of this. Finally, a Ned.
I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level.
It would benefit you to watch his entire video because he breaks it down about how, like, and that's the kids that are doing well. Because I also teach 7th grade, and we have kids that have math grade level equivalents of 1st and 2nd grade, 3rd grade, many at 4th grade, very few at grade level, very few, if any, in some classes.
Yeah. And by the way, so getting back to what we were talking about before, there have always been kids who were under grade level. It's just a lot more now than it used to be, and it's at like an alarming level. Like we just jumped. Like I said, in one of my classes, if I had to like just off the top of my head talk about the reading and writing levels of my let's do my block 3. My 3rd block class, which is my last class of the day, it's my 3rd class, has about 24 kids in it, and about 4 of those kids, actually 5 to 6 of those kids, I'm not sure about the 6th one, are refugees. I've got kids from Ukraine because of the war. I've got kids from Venezuela. What's the one that starts with a C? Colombia. I've got kids from all these different countries because, you know, war and the economy and all this shit. And they're in my classroom. They don't speak a lick of English. They are at probably anywhere from, because I know one of them is definitely still at like a kindergarten level because he cannot say a lick of English besides, can I go to the bathroom? Can I have a pencil? Kindergarten to 3rd grade. In like their reading and writing. And I don't even know if that's accurate because I don't test for that. And I don't think it's fully accurate because a lot of these kids, when they do their assignments, they'll translate using Google Translate and then give me what they wrote in Spanish and English according to Google Translate, right? So they could be lower than 3rd grade. I don't even know. And then I have like 18 other 6th graders that were born here in America, or they've been here long enough in America where they're no longer, you know, needing ELL, or they're not provided ELL services, or some of them are. But out of those 18 kids, I would say, and like truthfully, I would say maybe 4 are at 6th grade level. And then you'll have some that are at like, I would say like maybe another 3 to 4 are at 5th, 4th grade level. Then it goes down again. And we have kids that are at a 2nd and 3rd grade level, and then it just keeps going down. And every year it just jumps up even more. It's crazy.
These kids can't read. They can't decode. They have no vocabulary, no background knowledge. I've never seen anything like it. For context, for 8 years, I taught a self-contained program for significant language-based learning disabilities. Like, it was the most restrictive environment. It was the step before being sent to a specialized school. And my 5th graders with significant language-based learning disabilities could write better than non-disabled 7th graders can now.
Probably I would say because she has probably a smaller group of kids to work with, and she can work with them one-on-one. So they're making way bigger strides than these general ed classrooms that have 20 to 30 kids, and 10 of those kids are bouncing off the fucking walls or being super disrespectful or getting kicked out. You know what I'm saying?
They can't write a sentence.
Which is just another fucking argument for why these classroom sizes need to be way smaller than they are now. One of my colleagues has a class of 30 right now, and it's insane. The last time I had a classroom of 30 was back in like 2017, and that class, I was so lucky back then that the kids actually wanted to learn, and the ones that were goofy were really harmless. But I was lucky as hell that those kids didn't eat me alive. Because obviously I'm outnumbered there. You know, if all those kids wanted to talk and do their own shit, I wouldn't have been able to teach anything that year.
They don't know what state they live in. They don't know what region of the country they're in. They have no background knowledge. Most of them don't know who the president is. You know, they're coming to school with no background knowledge, They have very low skills. And yes, part of my job is to help them find those skills. And as a special education teacher, like, I'm obviously going to be working with students who require specialized instruction, but I'm not talking about specifically my students. I'm talking about students in the grade, period. And this was the case last year. They can't take notes. They can't even attend to a video. They can't even attend to a 3-minute video clip.
Yep. This is the thing that blows my mind the most. When I was growing up, and this is going to show how old I was, we used to have, what is it? School TV roll. Yeah, the rolling TVs. We used to get these. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. This is the best day ever. If this shit was in your classroom, you're like, oh, fuck. We're watching Bill Nye the Science Guy or some fucking bullshit documentary about the ancient Mesopotamians. And it was still the best. I show a 3-minute clip on YouTube, and I have half my class either just glazed out on the screen, not picking up a goddamn thing, or they're actively doing something else, scribbling. They're trying to talk to somebody next to them. They're writing fucking, I don't know, notes and some shit. Some kids will just straight up. I have 2 kids this year who straight up, when I remember playing a video to kind of help move my lesson along because it was related, and he just put his head down. Straight up didn't even try to listen. And then when we started working on the assignment that went with that video and what I was teaching after, had no fucking clue what we were doing. And it's not like it was a hard assignment either, but they just can't pay attention. And then I think a lot of that, though, has to do with the way media is now, right? I mean, I'm watching a fucking TikTok, and this TikTok is like 4 minutes long, but a lot of the TikToks the kids watch are like, what, 15 seconds, not even. Some of them are like 10 seconds long, 5 seconds long. It makes sense that they wouldn't pay attention to longer form video. If I grew up on short form content, I probably wouldn't want to pay attention to long form video either. It would bore the shit out of me. That makes sense.
I can play it. I can tell them what it's going to be about. I can summarize what the video did, and not a single one can tell me what the video was about. Directions written on the board, stated by the classroom teacher, restated by me. All right, who can tell me what we just said? Crickets.
Dude, so when I go through a lesson, I'll verbally, I'll tell the kids what to do. I'll have my lessons on the screen with like expectations and directions. I'll put directions on Google Classroom, and if there's a handout, I'll put directions on their handout. If there's a Google Doc, the directions will be on the handout. For 3 years, COVID, and then the 2 years after, I also made videos on how to do everything, just because we had kids who still weren't coming to school. We had kids who were hybrid. We had kids who had health conditions and they had to stay home. So they had to like do everything online asynchronously. And they still wouldn't know what to do. And some of these videos were literally me step by step doing the assignment for them, but using like a different topic or question that they were supposed to answer, just to kind of show them what I wanted from them. Fucking insane. And even now, I'll straight up, this year especially, my kids this year are not mean in any way. They don't throw shit at me. I don't have behavior issues like that. What I do have issues with are, I'll tell kids, okay, if you can hear me, clap once, and the kids will clap. You can hear me, clap twice. And then I'll say, I need you at a 0. I'm going over instructions. Listen. And I'll say, I'll just make up some bullshit. I'll say, pull out your Percy Jackson book and open page 200. Get a pencil, not a pen. Leave your Chromebook closed. And the kids there's a mixture of everything. You'll have kids, I'll have like 2 to 3 kids that'll do exactly what I said. I'll have 10 kids who pull out the book, who pull out the Chromebook, but the book is closed, the Chromebook is open, and then the pencil is a black pen, right? And then I have 5 other kids who are just like fucking looking at the ceiling and shit, fucking playing with a fidget spinner, goddamn, trying to talk to their friends. They just nobody reads. And my instructions are not long, man. They're pretty short. I mean, I wish I could show, maybe sometime I'll show an example, but I can't now because I don't have it open. I'd rather not accidentally end up showing my school email and all that stuff. But yeah, it's pretty wild how a lot of kids today don't follow the directions. I mean, I remember kids when I was going through school not listening and not following directions, but I would say the majority of the kids, if they didn't know what to do, they would read the directions and then they just know what to do on their own back then.
They have no listening skills, no reading skills, no writing skills, and no math skills. And like this creator said, I've had them for 30 days. Not even, this is week 4.
Oh, that's right. This was at the beginning of the school year. So she's noticing this stuff literally right at the beginning. And you know what else is a huge problem I've noticed is cheating. I've noticed and again, I'm not going to pin everything on, it being fucking Gen Alpha or anything, but cheating has become so, what's the word I'm looking for? So widespread. I see kids cheating at lunch. I see them cheating at study hall. I see them cheating in my class. And when I see that shit, I shut it down immediately, but then the next day they're doing it again. And even if I email parents, if I call the principal or like write up the kid, with an office referral, they're just back at it again in a different class. So like a lot of these kids will have A's and B's, and then test time will come and they have no idea what they're doing. And then the parents will come in and be like, my kid passed your class. Why did they fail the test? What's wrong with the test? It's not the test. It's your kid. They cheated for the entire unit and came in and tried to, I guess, cheat the system. And they ended up fucking themselves over. And I'm sure some kids don't care. But, like, there are kids who do cheat that care when their grades drop. And it's just like, it doesn't make sense. But, yeah.
I have kids. I get it. I have kids. They went through the pandemic, and my kids are at very different stages, and we're at very different stages from each other during the pandemic. My oldest is a freshman in college. They're 17. My middle child is 11. He's in 6th grade. He's reading at a 12th grade level. He's doing
Nice.
8th grade math. My daughter is 4. She definitely has...
I've noticed about teachers, when they have kids, either their kids are like the most well-behaved kids on the planet and have high levels of reading and math ability or whatever, or they're just the exact opposite because the teacher parent is so tired after a day of being in the classroom that they just don't give a fuck anymore. Is there a certain person that eats in your class nonstop? I'm going to assume you're somebody I might know. Just make sure you follow the rules here. No names will be mentioned.
Self-regulation issues. We're pretty sure that she has traits of autism. I don't...
Also, what the fuck kind of name is Jinxie Lotion? Jinxie Lotion. I'm going to assume Jinxie the streamer. And then Lotion. Holy shit. That just threw me for a loop.
know that it's impacting her academically in any way, but it definitely impacts her ability to self-regulate. Her academic, she has traits of autism. It does self-regulation issues. We're pretty sure that she has traits of autism. I don't know math. My daughter is 4. She definitely has self-regulation issues. We're pretty sure that she has traits of autism. I don't know that it's impacting her academically in any way, but it definitely impacts her ability to self-regulate. But like, she knows her letters, she knows how to spell her name, she knows how to spell words, she's starting to sound out words with me, she knows how to count, she knows how to skip count. Like, my 4-year-old can spell and count better than some 7th graders who are not students with disabilities.
Well, because it's obvious that this lady took the time, her and her husband must be taking the time every night to make sure their kids are caught up. And I'm sure, you know, at school they're learning what they need to, but when they come home, what they're learning is being reinforced, right? Mom is probably making them do all their homework. I'm going to assume with a mom like this, you're probably reading 30 minutes a day if you have no homework. And even if you do have homework, you probably have to read like 30 minutes a day. She probably talks through the homework with them. And just based on the way she's speaking, I have a feeling she's not the type of mom just give you the answer. She's going to make you work for it. So it's important, like with these parents, that they actually take the time to raise their fucking kid, right? All these parents will say it takes a fucking village, but then they don't want to put in the work to actually raise their kid. A lot of parents will say, you know, I have work, I feed my kid, and I love them. But if I'm being honest, if that's your best, sometimes your best is not enough, dude. As a parent, you need to actually be hands-on with their learning. I think one of the reasons, and this is, I'm not stroking my own dick here. I mean, I kind of am a little bit, but like, I had a very high reading level when I was a kid. And I remember being in I think the second percentile in my whole school for reading when I was in 6th grade. So like, or maybe I'm getting that wrong, 98%. I was well above 98% of the kids at my elementary school when I was in 6th grade. And a lot of that has to do with me reading at home. And I hated when my parents would like force me to go to the library or like force me to read. But I did do it. And I think that's why I was always ahead of the game back when I was in school. So like, you need parents to like actually partake. We have a lot of parents now that just don't do shit. And I'm not trying to be mean towards anyone's parents or like try to talk shit about your parents, but there are some parents who will just go to work and then give their kids an iPad when they go home, feed them, and then let them play video games all night. They won't even check if the kid had homework. We had parent-teacher conferences not that long ago, and one of the parents was saying, well, I ask my daughter every night if she has homework, and she says no. So you just let it go right there? Dude, the daughter should have a Google Classroom account, and they all do, and you can check homework on there. We send out a homework document every goddamn night. So like, this parent wasn't even doing the bare minimum. And again, I'm not trying to shit on these parents, but like, dude, not everyone should have kids, especially if you're not going to be there for them. I know how that sounds. No, but not everyone should have kids.
And they just keep passing the kids grade to grade to grade, hoping that it's just going to magically resolve. And my question is, parents, where are you?
That's just what I said.
I can tell which students have families that talk to them at home. So many kids.
This is another thing. A lot of parents are emotionally negligent. They think physically taking care of their kid and feeding them and making sure they have clothing is all they need to do. But you need to nurture your kids' emotions, the way that they socialize with people, the way they empathize. Otherwise, they're just going to end up closed off, not giving a fuck about school, just very depressed. That's why I'm so like, I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's just move on.
Just don't even hear adults having conversations. So they don't absorb any background knowledge at all.
Yeah.
Because nobody's talking to them. 4 weeks.
The only time their parents talk to them is like, come eat. Why didn't you pull the chicken out of the refrigerator when I asked you to? Take out the garbage. Shut your mouth. Go to bed. Brush your teeth. Nothing else. Not know how was your day? How do you feel about school? If their kid cries, they won't even ask them why. It'll just be, stop fucking crying right now. I'll give you a reason to cry. Like, you know what I mean? That type of shit doesn't help anybody.
I've had these kids.
By the way, that doesn't mean you shouldn't punish your kids. If your kid fucks up, you can punish them, but you still have to walk them through why they're being punished and what was wrong with what they did to get them to be decent fucking human beings.
I know it's not my fault.
Yeah. Dude, I at some point, right, I'm going to make this into a YouTube video. And I know some jackass from like Louisiana is going to comment and say, nah, it is your fault. You fucking teachers can't do shit. No, it's not my fault if your kid is at a first grade level coming into my classroom and can't function at the 6th grade level and write the way I need them to. I cannot catch up a kid from 1st grade all the way to 6th in a year, in a matter of months. That shit is impossible. It's a lot of other factors, and so I think some schools definitely are the issue. Some teachers definitely are the problem, but a lot of it has to do with uh, COVID, the government, the parents, fucking TikTok. I mean, and I love TikTok, but TikTok has been detrimental to like brain development. I feel like for a lot of younger kids, and it's definitely been detrimental to like my social life. I'm just, dude, from 8 to 10 sometimes before I go to bed, I'm just fucking rotting on the couch, just watching fucking TikToks, and it's like all the same shit, like people doing trends, and it's all the same fucking trend, but I'm just watching a million versions of it. God damn. But yeah, this year's been rough. Not behaviorally. Most of my kids are fine, but there's just so many kids that are under like dude, when I first started teaching, gaps meant, oh, this kid's at fourth grade or fifth grade level instead of sixth grade. Now it's, oh, this kid's at first grade level. Fuck. I know what you mean. My mom held me back a year for this. Glad she did though. And I think like when you got held back, you probably really fucking hated it, and maybe you even felt resentment towards your mom. And I'm not saying that holding kids back is a good thing, um, but dude, sometimes you need to do that drastic thing. Um, a lot of kids, and I don't remember where I read this, but it was like part of a research paper. A lot of kids who do poorly or did poorly back in the 1990s in school, it's because they were kids that were born in like a kid was born in like June, and so he was the youngest in his class, and so he still had to go to school when all the other kids in his year went. But because there were like kids who are born in September and October, are older than the rest of the kids in the class, right? So their brains are a little bit more developed. It's always the kids closer to June and July that end up, not always, but like generally doing worse than their peers because they're not fully developed. Holding kids back a year when they're in kindergarten, first grade is actually a really good thing. Um, I have a teacher friend right now who had to make that decision because her kid was born in June, and she was wondering if she's going to hold her kid back a year or if to send them. And she decided to just send him, and now he's struggling in school. And I'm not saying that that's the only reason, but I feel like the way she describes him, he's probably less developed than all the other kids. But also, I'm not going to talk about my friend, but they don't really do the whole reading, writing at home, that type of thing too, I guess. I was in second grade. I don't remember it anyway. Yeah, you don't remember it anyway. But your body and your brain needed that extra time to develop and do better. So like it helped. You know what I mean?